What's up, wonderful people? Thank you very much for clicking this video. You are wonderful and valuable to this world. Today's videos is a mixture of everything. Funny, educative, UFOs, creepy. Creepy, and I mean creepy as even the title suggests. Kindly watch till the end and help spread this message of love, peace, and unity across the whole world. Straight out of Africa with good vibes. Lots of good vibes. Tell us where you're watching from, man, and hit the like button. Let's dive in.
In the following video, a babysitter is looking after a girl who in the video can be seen playing with her toys.
What you doing over there?
Crying.
Nice.
The reason for filming this video is because it was just earlier that the 5-year-old had said something very creepy to the babysitter. He films this video to record what she said. Take a look.
What was it that you told me earlier about your doll?
When I play hide and seek with my doll, it moves.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
That doll? This doll?
Yeah.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
Like you move it, or? When does it move?
When I play hide and seek with her.
When you play hide and seek?
Yeah.
Bro.
This creepy looking doll apparently comes to life when you play with it, but according to the child, it only moves if you play hide and seek with it. Now the child is only 5, so it could be that she was speaking from her imagination, but this notion didn't stop the babysitter from seeing if it was true. Curious to see if the doll actually moves, the babysitter plays a game of hide and seek. As he plays, he records it.
I'm 10.
We're playing hide and seek. Oh my god! Sadie, you scared me. Don't do that, dude.
Although quite a jump scare, the sitter would much rather be scared by a dog than a haunted doll. Thankfully, as he says, it didn't move. Now while it may seem that nothing unusual occurred during this night, something happens later that scares the sitter to his core. According to him, the 5-year-old had just been put to bed when suddenly he sees this.
Oh my god, hey, that dog scared me.
Y'all guys have to excuse me, I'm sick, but I gotta share something with you. Have you ever heard the story of the dry bones talked about in Ezekiel 37? So basically the Lord spoke to Ezekiel and said, can these bones, because the Lord took Ezekiel to the valley that was filled with bones, and he said, can these bones become living beings again? And Ezekiel said, Lord, you only know if that can be done. So the Lord said, speak prophetic words over these bones, over these dry bones, and say to them, listen to the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Look, I'm going to put breath into you and make you live again. I will put flesh and muscle on you and cover you with skin. I will put breath into you and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord. I absolutely love the story of the dry bones in the valley. There are so many rich lessons to be taught in that little story right there alone. The one I want to talk to you about is though how God chose Ezekiel to use him to do his kingdom work. God waits for us to make ourselves available to him to work. He's waiting for our willingness. For example, Mary, when the angel Gabriel came to Mary and said that these things will be done that she will carry the Messiah, that she has found favor in God's eyes. What did Mary say? She said, "Let it be done to me as you have said." Mary was willing to go and obey God. Was she the only one? No. I'm sure if Mary, because she had free will, and I'm sure if Mary would have said, "No, I don't want to do it," I'm sure the Lord would have found someone else who would have been the vessel to carry the Messiah. So the same way God can work through his power on earth, he works through people. You know, the Lord of the universe wants to partner with you and to accomplish his heavenly purpose, not only in your life, but in the people that are around you. He did it with Moses, he did it with David, he did it with Ezekiel, he did it with Peter, he did it with Paul, he did it with so many more. God desires to build his kingdom through people. We are his hands and his feet. He empowers us to make things happen. We need to only make ourselves available to walk in obedience to his calling, in his power. Ezekiel 36:27 is where where it says that God puts his spirit in us so that we follow his decrees. In Acts, we learn how the Holy Spirit comes to live in us and empowers us in order to accomplish what God has set before us. Philippians 4:13 talks about how the Spirit gives us strength. And in 1 Corinthians 12, we learn about the spiritual gifts. And these gifts are available for each and every one of us because the Lord gives gracious to those who ask. If you as a father, if your child comes to you and asks for a loaf of bread, are you going to give him or her a stone? Or when your child comes and asks for a fish, are you going to give it a snake? No, of course not. And you as an earthly father know how to give good gifts to your children. How much more does your heavenly Father give to those who ask? My friends, God empowers us to accomplish something on this earth, but we have to be willing to be his hands and feet. I hear it all the time, people saying, well, I will only believe if there's a miracle that comes from earth, and if everything will, I only believe if there's a mighty miracle. Don't you get it? You are that mighty miracle. The Lord uses people, human beings, broken, sinful human beings, to accomplish what he has said about his plans. You only need to be willing to walk. That means that you walk in obedience to the Lord. You listen to what he has to say to you. He teaches you, he convicts you, he guides you, and he leads you. Give your life to Jesus, my friend, because he loves you very much.
The second thing that bothers me is the UFO story. And, the more you dig into that and talk to people with actual knowledge of it, again, that's another story where there are some, fanciful ideas floating around that are just, there's no evidence that they're true. But if you talk to people who, have actual knowledge of it that they gathered themselves, there are parts of that story that I do not understand at all that are really, really, really dark. It's so dark that I, haven't told my wife about it. I mean, I haven't verified any of this, but this is not just stuff that I read on the internet. I know you all are very, very grounded in that story, so I think I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But there's some stuff there that's just like, man, I'm not even sure what that means. There's a spiritual component there that I don't fully understand. So yes, that story bothers me. And I think, last thing I'll say, that one of the reasons that we've had all these disclosures and all of these, 10 whistleblowers at this point, and it hasn't really become front page news. Part of it's suppression. Parts of the government don't want you to know about it, but part of it is the public can't deal with it. It's too far out. The implications are too profound. And I understand that. Because I've heard things where I'm just like, oh man, I don't even really want to know that. Honestly,
deeply disturbing stuff. Forget saucers and technology. It's deeply disturbing stuff that I haven't even told Natalie. Yep. I agree with you. It's so disturbing. Exactly. I can't even tell my kids. My kids ask me different stories about it, and I won't say it because it's so dark. It's so dark.
I totally agree.
Miles is watching. So,
okay, Miles, if you're watching the show, Daddy's not going to tell you about that part of the UFO stuff and what's going on with the government.
Well,
and that
can I say one thing? They've known clearly. I mean, this is, I think, established, and I feel comfortable saying this as fact. The U.S. government, I mean, these are real, whatever they are. They're not human. And the government has known that for a long time, possibly going back to the 1930s at least. And, of course, there's tons of evidence in the written record, in the physical record, in paintings, and in literature, that people have been seeing and interacting with these things for a long time. So we know that. But the justification one often hears is, well, the government, various presidents who have been read in, not all have been, haven't wanted to disclose this because it would scare people. And I've always thought that's bullshit. You know, you're hiding a crime, which they are, by the way, in my opinion. But I do think there's a sense in which that's not totally crazy. Like, there is some stuff, if it's true, and I'm kind of thinking it may be true, that's so radical that, yeah, well, as we both said, we don't want to tell the people we love most about it because, like, why would you disturb someone like that? So I kind of get that. I hate to admit it. I'm not arguing for hiding things. I believe in the truth and I believe in disclosure, but I understand the impulse. Like, holy smokes, this is heavy. You know what I mean?
And the government's involvement in it makes it even heavier because then you realize the complicity.
Exactly.
Whom do you worship and whom do you pray to? You see, when you connect with the quantum field, when you awaken divinity within you and activate your kundalini fully, the very first thing that you will realize and notice is that there is absolutely no God in the entire universe that you must pray to, and no God in the entire universe that you must worship. For you are that divine being. You are divinity. You see, you are divinity functioning in what you call a human avatar. You are this divine being who is functioning universally, cosmically, globally, physically, energetically, spiritually, you see. How are you functioning this way? When you connect with the quantum field, awaken divinity within you, you will experience how you are functioning this way. You see, there is absolutely no entity out in any dimension that you must pray to or that you must worship, you see. You are divine. And the entire universe is within you, you see. If you are in need of a spirit to communicate with, you see, because you were programmed this way, then the way to go about that would be to connect with your ancestors. You see, these are spirits who were once existing. These spirits exist. These spirits are real. Connect with your ancestors. Connect with your spirit guides. Connect with the angels. Connect with the aliens. Ask for their assistance. Ask for their guidance. Ask for their protection. Ask for financial help, you see. They will assist you and they will help you. One of the reasons why humanity is left in the state that it is in right now is because we were programmed to place our consciousness and our prayers and our worship upon gods who do not exist, you see. Placing our prayers and our intention and our worship on Yahweh, the Abrahamic God, on Jesus, the Abrahamic Jesus, you see. These gods were not able to help us because these gods do not exist, you see. We were taught and we were programmed that placing our prayers and our seeking and our guidance upon our ancestors was evil and demonic, you see, which is why we were left without help, you see, which is why we are suffering in our spirituality, which is why we are lacking in our spirituality, which is why we are lacking in our seeking of spiritual things, you see, because we were programmed to stay away from the ancestors, you see. It was called an abomination to seek out the ancestors. However, this is your liberation in the spiritual dimensions, you see, connecting with your ancestors. How is this done? Placing your consciousness upon your ancestors. If you would like to connect with me, all you must do is place your consciousness upon me, and you can connect with me. You can ask for my guidance. You can ask for my wisdom, you see, and I will be there, you see. You can connect with any entity that is alive right now in this dimension and ask for help and ask for guidance or seek their power. You see, you can ask for my help. You can ask for my guidance. You can seek my power. You see, we do not have to be dead or deceased or gone from this dimension in order for you to connect with us consciously and spiritually, you see. For the physical aspect of you is only the tiniest portion of you. Who and what you truly are fills up the entire universe, you see. And that is the side that you will connect with. That is the spiritual side. That is the spiritual essence that you will connect with. You see, you can connect with anyone in this manner. Any guru that you follow online or on the internet, you can connect with this guru in this manner, consciously. Place your consciousness upon any guru and connect with this guru. Ask for their help. Ask for their assistance in any way, shape, or form that they are able to help you. You see, be specific of what spirit you would like to connect with. Be specific on what guru you would like to connect with, and ask specifically what you need assistance with, you see. When you pay very close attention to your mind or that inner voice when you are praying, you see, pay very close attention to it. When you are praying to what you classify as God or what you classify as Jesus, listen to the voice inside your head and pay attention to it. What voice is that? It is your own voice, you see. You are praying to yourself and you are worshiping yourself, you see. That elevated feeling that you were feeling is your higher self, your higher spirit, you see. But there was no God there, you see. You were talking to yourself. The voice that talks back to you in the voice that you think is God is your own voice. All these years, that voice that was communicating with you in your head as you prayed, and that voice that was communicating with you in your head as you worshipped, or that voice that you were speaking to and that was speaking back to you in your head as you had a communication with God, or what you classify as God, was your own voice. You were talking to yourself the whole time. All those years, you were talking to yourself, you see. You were only thinking that it is God because you were programmed to believe that it was a God. However, the whole time, it was you. The whole time it was you speaking to yourself. The whole time it was you listening to yourself. And the whole time it was you giving your own self answers, giving your own self wisdom, and giving your own self insight, you see. The voice was your own voice. For there was no God to pray to, and there was no God to worship. You were listening and speaking and praying and worshiping yourself the whole time.
How does China clean roads after snow? You see that previous video that has passed is interesting, that wonderful woman. But it's evident that people live and think differently across the globe. Much love to all humans. Show love and caring to those around you. This is interesting. You see, these guys are very arranged and this is something I would like just to sit there and watch and have first-hand experiencing. That looks nice, man. What? Creepy video from Reed Gago. Yeah? What is that now?
I have a question about fear and trying to, I guess, remove your fear to move on to the next step.
Well, you transform. In other words, listen, you are a 100% energy, all of you. You only have one energy. When you filter that energy through belief systems that are in harmonious alignment with your true self, you experience the sensation called joy, love, passion, excitement. When you filter the same energy through belief systems that are out of alignment with your core self, you experience the same energy in the sensation you call fear. So fear is a friend that tells you, hey, you're filtering your energy through belief systems that are not what you prefer them to be. So I'm bringing them to your attention through the mechanism called fear. It means you have a misalignment between your belief and what you prefer in your heart, in your core that you are. So the fear is like someone knocking on the door saying, message, sir, you have a belief that doesn't work for you. This has been the fear delivery service. Thank you, fear. Here's your tip. Have a good day. Now you're no longer afraid of fear because you know fear brings you information you need to be more of yourself.
When people think UFOs, when people think aliens, they're still conditioned from our childhood. We're thinking sci-fi. right? We're thinking Star Trek aliens and Star Wars aliens. We're thinking humanoid aliens, basically, right?
Right.
Why aren't we thinking about aliens like we think about zooplankton in the ocean? Like tiny, minuscule, little living organisms that you can't even see. Why do we think that they're flying in ships that are visible to us?
Well, because we have reports of them, like detailed video reports of them, of these things off the Air Force pilot,
the Navy pilots,
the Navy pilots off in San Diego, who literally have visuals of these things jamming their radars, which is an act of war, and going from point A to point B in less than 1 second.
Yeah, it's an amazing technology, right? But it's all something that's within the realm of what we can imagine, which to me, whenever you come across anything that's conventional, the most logical conclusion is that it was made by a conventional thinker. So it strikes me much more likely that it's a weapon or some sort of device that was some sort of technology that was created by the U.S. or by some other first world, adversary. It makes the most logical sense that somebody else has created this amazing technology and we don't know about it. And the first time that we saw it was here. Could it be alien? Absolutely, it could be alien. But is it like 51% alien, 49% it's just developed some other weapon system in the U.S. or some other weapon system in Russia? Who knows? There's not enough information to say that is extraterrestrial technology. There's enough information to say this looks like it's something that our radar could even pick up, right? It's something that's flying around in our atmosphere. I think of it like, if there's an alien race out there that has come to the Earth and come to the United States and has observed us, what makes us think that we're even close enough to their level of technology to observe them back, even accidentally? What makes us think that's possible? Right? I think of it like insects. If you walk over an anthill, right, the ants in the anthill basically don't move. They don't change anything. Because you're so big, you're like, we as human beings are so far out of whatever they deal with day to day that they don't even see us as a threat, right? We're just a thing. So some massive alien technology that can travel through space at the speed of light and observe foreign cultures or observe other planets, they would most likely know how to observe us without us even knowing that they're observing us. They would be this giant thing that just flies over and we don't even know it's there, right? For whatever reason. They would most likely not be some little tic-tac that we can pick up on our own radar scanners. It's in the visual light spectrum. What sense does that make? I am not saying it's not alien. What I'm saying is, why are we pointing to it being alien? The other option is that either American military technology is so advanced that we don't even know we can do this stuff, or one of our foreign adversaries, their technology is so advanced that we didn't even know they were able to do this stuff. That's the scarier alternate. The scarier alternate is that little tic-tac flying around at super speed is a Russian-controlled cruise missile, and they now have that technology, and we had no idea that it existed. That's even scarier than thinking that some alien life form,
that is way fucking scary,
is like observing us peacefully. Almost all of your major UFOs have always tied back to military aircraft or military developments of some sort, right? Anything that's been exposed, whether it was the SR-71 or the B-2 or even the B-1, right? Cruise missiles, drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, all went back to weaponization. They were first seen by some innocent bystander in the desert in Nevada or whatever, and they just proved out to be American weapon technology.
Driver constantly carries water to the thirsty camels in the desert. Camels' joy is the divine spark when kindness magically turns even a desert into a happy and beautiful place. Just look at the happiness among these camels, man.
On the 29th of September this year, I posted a video which was something that I read on the dark web, and it was a prediction of an end of the world scenario which was to play out, and I gave the date eventually. I did give it in the first video, but I'm going to play that video again because I think it's quite relevant now with what's come out since. It was the 13th of December 2047. Now, with this disclosure that's been put in, they're going to disclose this UFO stuff over a 25-year period, which takes us more or less up to that date, to the exact month, to be precise. It's the 16th of December. It was wrote in the 13th of December, and the prediction was the 13th of December 2047. Now, I'm going to share the video. I think it's about 9 or so minutes long, so it's going to be in two parts. I'll share the first part in this bit, and I'll share the second part in another video a couple of minutes after it. Listen to it. It was a real document that I read. I know it was real. However, I need to stress this. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay? People, this was shared when I had a couple of thousand followers. I've got 52,000 followers now. So more people can see this and see what I read. And you can believe me or you cannot believe me. I do not really care. And you control me on it. I do not care. I know what I read. I know what I've seen. And I know that it was real. I'm going to share it again. It got a lot of views, it got a lot of likes, and it got a lot of discussions going, and I think even more so now it needs to be shown again. So here is that video. Do not swipe up if you want to hear something about the UFO and alien topic that I do not think you have heard of before. I must stress that this is for entertainment purposes only and should not be taken serious. Okay? Right, okay, I'm going to start this make-believe story up. So I was on the dark web about a week ago. On that night, I stumbled across a file. I was doing some UFO research. On that file was a 15 to 16 page art document. I clicked on it and I read it. When I took them off it, I went to go back into it to take some screenshots to download it because it was mind-blowing. I couldn't do it, I couldn't go into it. It was a read only once and it didn't say that at the top, it didn't say that anywhere. I did not know it was a read only once. So I was really annoyed, so I'm going off my memory now in this make-believe story which should not be taken serious at all. So, in that document, it explained all the presidents who knew the truth, and that was Truman, Roosevelt and Eisenhower. Those were the main presidents who knew everything. Every other president after that, I've known little bits on a need-to-know basis, but they do not know the severity of it, which was explained in this document. The last person who was pushing and really got close to getting that was the one after Eisenhower, which was JFK. And 10 days after writing this document, which isn't real, I just made this up, so this is a make-believe story. It's this document that you can see right there, which is dated in the 12th of November 1963, was exactly 10 days before he was assassinated. So, yeah, that's just, I just made that up. He wanted to release it all to the public, however he didn't know the severity of it. Sorry, it stopped, I'll just have to do these videos in parts. The severity of it is very dark, very shocking, and I totally agree that it should not be released to the public, and that is again, it's just make-believe, so I'm putting this out there for entertainment purposes only, for my protection really on what I'm about to say. Basically, the world is going to end. They have been made aware of that by a species of alien. Since then, they have made contact with other alien species who have also got problems, and they have created treaties and deals in exchange for technology. Now, I'm going to give the government some credit here. Well, not the government you see, the government working in the background. They are well on way with this technology. So advanced, in fact, they are looking at other planets on how we can take the humans and live there to save the human race. It did not go into details about what was going to happen, whether it was going to be an invasion, whether it was going to be a meteor, anything like that. It didn't go in any details like that. And if it did, in this make-believe story that I'm telling you, I would tell you. It just said that there is a world-ending event, and that world-ending event, which it did state that date, and I'm not going to say that date. I'm not going to tell you that date. Not a chance. They're not having it. They think that they can save and stop that timeline of where we are made extinct. The alien race, which are helping us, they're actually doing a lot of experimenting with our species and trying to alter our DNA, and also to preserve the human race. And there's bases all throughout the world where the crafts are kept, or the aliens are kept, and there's humans down there. There's all sorts going on. There are people that have been moved off the planet, that have been taken to other places. It is one massive cover-up. One massive cover-up, and the cover-up is for a good reason, as they don't think that they can save everybody on this planet. They do not believe that they can save everyone on this planet. They're going to try and do that, but they do not think they can do that. But they are trying, from what I read in this make-believe story. All I can say to people is, I've been pushing for this topic since I was 15 years old. I'm 37 years old, and what I read the other week, it's taken me a week to just even think about even talking about it, because I will get mocked for this video, and I don't care. It is just me. This is for entertainment purposes, and that's how I want it to be looked at. But what I read was very shocking, very dark, and made a lot of sense as to why presidents aren't told, why the human population isn't being told, and why people are being killed to keep this a secret. And there is going to be an extinction of this planet. And I know that the religious people talk about the rapture and all these people go missing, and whether there's a connection with that, I don't know. There was nothing in this document that stated any of that. I do not know what it is. I wish I could find a bit more. It was just a website with one link on, and that was it. There was nothing else on that page. And how I came across it, I have no idea. I was on Reddit, and I was going through some links. I got one link, ended up finding another and stuff like that. And all I remember seeing was, this will blow your mind. And I clicked off it and clicked onto that. I just wish that I knew it was a read-only once, because I would have downloaded it, and I would have screen recorded it. I would have done something to get that document, because there's a lot of stuff that I can't remember. I'm just trying to give a brief thing, like the presidents that did know, the presidents that tried and may or may not have been assassinated for that reason. Like I said, there's a document what was sent 10 days before a president was assassinated, saying that this needs to be talked about because it could cause problems with the Soviets. But again, that president didn't know the severity of it. Like, it's going to be a world-ending event, and they're trying their best. They've got all sorts on the moon. There was talk on the bases where they've got even one of the moons. I don't know if it was, I can't remember the name of the moon. They've got things on the moon. They've got probes. They're working with other alien species to do this. It was just mind-blowing to read. And again, it's just for entertainment purposes only. And if it is true what I'm saying, and that document might not have been, it might have just been someone making that up. They knew a hell of a lot, because in that week I have looked up a lot of the stuff, and I have come across the Roosevelt documents, the Eisenhower documents, the Truman documents. There were loads of documents. Every other president has put documents on UFOs, but they only know about the UFOs and their capabilities. They don't know anything about the sinister side of it, of what's really being hidden, and that's the stuff they don't. It's basically a race against time, from what I gathered from trying to summarise it. It's a race against time to find help, which they have found help. They've contacted other alien species. It didn't go into details about how they did that. Again, this is just going through. There's like bits of documents, bits you could tell that was put together, and it wasn't just one thing, and everything was just, every piece of paper had some shocking information on it, and some of it made sense. That makes total sense why you wouldn't tell every president. It makes total sense why you wouldn't tell the human population. It makes total sense that they're going.
If I ever found myself on a boat and it was sinking, I'd hope that it was somewhere where I had a life jacket already and the water was clear and blue with a beautiful view. Sounds nice, don't it? But the thing that I appreciated the most was a person recording the video, because you know what they weren't doing? Yelling like it was going to change the situation.
So here's the difference between the King James. Yo, good vibes, people. Thanks for watching up to this far, man. Some salute to you because of that wonderful gesture. And you see, you believe here, with all these things that we have seen, that people live differently across the world. You see, and have different beliefs. And there's really a lot going on around us at this time. It's why we believe that this message of love and caring for one another as you do for ourselves is very important and needed by the world right now. Please hit the like button and watch this video till the end. Help spread this message of love, wonderful soul. You see, much love to yourself. Leave a comment there. What do you think about all those videos that has passed? Yo, good vibes till the end. Much love to yourself. Just keep watching.
So here's the difference between the King James and the Catholic Bible. In the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 7, the King James says, "Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." Now that's what it says, but what a lot of people don't know is that water in the Bible is very often a metaphor for a nation of people. For example, in the book of Revelation chapter 17 verse 15, the King James Version of the Bible says that he said unto me, "The waters which you saw where the harlot sits are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues." Okay, so water in the Bible is often a metaphor for people, multitudes, nations, and tongues. And this is the reason why the St. Austerbury's Catholic Bible translates water into kingdoms of men. For the St. Austerbury's Bible says this, "And God made the seventh firmament, and divided the kingdoms of men which were under the firmament from the kingdoms of men which were on the worlds above the firmament. And it was so."
Whether it's little green men, American technology, or worse, technology from the CCP, we need to know. The strongest resistance to transparency and disclosure and the Burchett language has come from the House Intelligence Committee. I believe that the recalcitrance from the CIA and from the intelligence community may be animated by some of the cover-up that we have seen up to this point. That's why the Burchett language currently in the NDAA gives us a beachhead to be able to access not only Department of Defense authorities and Department of Defense activities and programs, but we have to actually get into what the CIA has done with UAPs.
Since 1947, basically, they've told us these don't exist. Yet now we're finding out they're spending millions of dollars. NASA has reports on it. The CIA now has reports on it. But yet the Pentagon keeps telling us they don't exist.
If this is all nonsense, right, then why are we seeing constant, from different areas of government, whistleblowers coming out with things that are credible? Why, as legislators, are we being stonewalled?
Seeing this increased activity, yes, near military installation, yes, near conflicts, areas of operation, but you're also seeing it near our nuclear installations. And if you assume for a moment that it's American technology, we have normal areas of operation that we would test new aircraft, right? But it's now conflicting with commercial aircraft. So again, there's got to be an accountability mechanism that if it is our technology, that it's being operated safely, that it's being tested safely. And if it's Chinese technology, then we need to know and ask those questions of, are we ready? What are we doing to counter that? So I don't know if it's Little Green Men or U.S. Technology or the CCP, but they're engaging in around our nuclear facilities. And I don't care who it is or where it's from, that should concern you. There are questions that need to be asked. There are questions that need to be answered. And I'll be damned, we're going to find those answers and we're going to turn over every stone until we get them.
What's up with those alien bodies presented to the Mexican Congress? Ooh. These alien bodies presented in Mexican Congress were found in Peru, in the Nazca Plains of Peru. This is a famous area where there are patterns drawn in the ground where if you're down on the ground, you can't, so they're just markings in the thing. You have to get high above before you see that there are huge diagrams that are there. Some are straight lines, and some very inventive and imaginative people imagine those as runways for ancient aliens. Plains, the Nazca Plains have been a hotbed of speculation for visiting aliens of distant past. These alien bodies presented to Mexican Congress are described as having been found in that region of Peru. By the way, just a few days ago, I received an official invitation to Mexico to look at these two alien bodies personally. an official invitation. And I declined for a very simple reason. But I'd love to see the aliens. But if you're going to make an official invitation to a scientist, that invitation should not go to an astrophysicist. It needs to go to a biologist. In fact, it needs to go to 10 biologists, biochemists. Invite them, 10 of them, 5 of them, more than 3, okay? They all come and they each take home a sample of the bodies, of the alien bodies. That's how you do this, because that's how science works. And to quote Carl Sagan, an extraordinary claim requires extraordinary evidence. The claim is that what is there are aliens not of this earth. So we better have extraordinary evidence for it. So what you want to do is get tissue. If they're mummified, there's still tissue samples there. All right. If it was once living tissue, they're clearly dead now. Take tissues. All right. You can afford to do this. The aliens, they're not very big. They're like 3 feet tall, something like that, in their little transparent coffins. But take tissue, send it out to labs all around. Do that. Let other people who you don't even know, but have established laboratory practices, test that tissue. Okay? That's what you should do. If that comes through and we get verification, now we're talking. And they're aliens not because you swore they were aliens. They're aliens because the scientific method established that fact. And what is the scientific method? I'll tell you. Do whatever it takes to not fool yourself into thinking something is true that is not, or to thinking something is not true that is. That is the scientific method, period. If it means getting chart recorders, if it means not using your susceptible mental state to establish the reality, get other witnesses, but ideally get machines to make the measurement, because machines don't care whether they had coffee this morning, whether they were awake. They don't get sleepy on the job. The machines, and then get another machine made by somebody else to make the measurement. Yeah, because maybe your machine is faulty. Maybe the wall current you plugged it into had a glitch. This is so that you're not fooled. That's the only thing the scientific method requires of us. So, I was delighted to see the 2 alien buddies come out. Now, I have other issues, which I'm happy to share with you, but I'm done speaking about this in terms of the scientific method. If this is life from another planet, they look awfully human. Oh my gosh. So early Hollywood aliens, they would, give them like 3 eyes or, antennas, but it was still an actor in a costume walking, and they have head, shoulders, arms, legs, fingers, hips, thighs, legs, and feet, calves and feet. So occasionally an alien was more creative than that. Keeping in mind, if it comes from another planet, it's got to look at least as different from humans as any 2 other life forms on Earth look from each other. Is that asking too much? All right. So one of my favorite aliens was the Blob. 1950, I think it was remade later, but in 1958, Steve McQueen, one of his early movie roles, the Blob it fell from space on it like a meteorite. It was a blob. The movie was aptly named. It was a blob. And it started out with no color. It was transparent. And then it attacked you. And after it consumed its first victim, the blob was red for the rest of the movie. You might forget it started out with no color. There's nothing on Earth like that. Good alien. Really, really good alien. Okay? Do you realize we have DNA in common with a banana? And we look really different from a banana. So if you're going to bring an alien from another planet, make it look more different from humans and a banana than humans and a banana look from each other. That's all I'm asking of you. So these Mexican aliens, okay, they had a head, shoulders, arms, legs, hips, femurs. They had hands. Oh, they had 3 fingers instead of 5. Okay. All right. And another curious fact, they're so humanoid they had 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. But wait a minute. If you're mummified and you want to be that human, there is no bone structure underneath your nose. Look at any skull. Look at any mummified thing. There's a gap there. Yet these aliens had these little tiny little pointy noses. So, all right, so maybe these aliens have a bone nose bone, okay? I guess. So, to the extent that it was just fakery, what betrays the fakery is how human they look. Let me just put it that way. If you're going to fake an alien and make it convincing, do better than that. Oh, one last thing. Alien comes and says, take me to your leader. Don't take him to any leaders. No, don't do that. Don't go to the White. Bring him to me, all right? No, but take him to the National Academy of Sciences. This is what you do. To people who will know how to think about who it is that just asked that question. As always, keep looking up, especially for the aliens.
Oh, see, some of this stuff look like toys.